Now, I think this could be, on one half sounds laughable, but I do think there's a really serious point beneath it. What would you do with the naked Rambler Stephen Gough? You could beg him to put clothes on, you could jail him for refusing, but he still won't conform. And now the authorities in Scotland are warning the 50-year-old that he could effectively end up spending the rest of his life behind bars unless he pulls his pants up. I mean, literally. Gough's already spent much of the last 4 years locked up on countless charges of breaching the peace, including 2 spells for leaving prison without any clothes on. He's appeared... Truly, they arrested him at the gates. He's appeared in court naked. He's done his time behind bars in the Buff. A far braver man than I. And his latest taste of freedom, in fact, lasted just 30 seconds when he was released at Christmas, I think it was on Christmas Day, but was re-arrested at the prison gates for, yes, being in the nuddy. So, the Scottish Sheriff, Lindsay Foulis, I think it is, has offered Gough the chance to go home to Hampshire so long as he wears some clothes, but he just won't do it, saying that his protest is about individual freedom. I mean, I'll say it again, what do you do with a guy like this? Do you keep locking him up like a murderer? Do you ignore him? Do you send him for psychiatric reports, which is what they're doing at the moment, and then what, put him in a mental institution? I guess it's a similar problem with the likes of Charles Bronson, Britain's most violent prisoner, whose sentence is constantly extended as he commits crime after crime while in jail. Stephen, though, hasn't hurt a fly. In many ways, that makes him less of a pain than a bloody-minded child, and there are plenty of them about. What do you do with someone who won't play by the rules, Dawn?
I think we could all think of ways that we'd like to express ourselves as individuals that might not be appropriate, but the fact is that we can't, because we live in a world full of other people. There's... You know, it's about self-control. He hasn't got any, and I know he's not hurting anybody, but he's been told, and no one else is doing it, and it's about the fact that we have to have self-control.
So you are saying, effectively, that mental issues notwithstanding, I don't know whether there are or there aren't, but you are effectively saying that the Scottish authorities are right to be, and they're quite open about it, that every time he breaches the law, he will be locked up.
Well, how many warnings can one person have?
Well, that's the point. If he's never going to change, is that the way you want to deal with the problem? Just keep locking him up?
Coercion is a better tactic with him. I mean, with a child who will not do what you want them to do, and obviously they are trying to express their free will, you kind of distract them with games and things, or try and coerce them so they can cooperate.
Give him an iPhone.
Yeah. So I did think about this. I know it's a very serious issue, but maybe you could...
Lots of people have a good laugh at it, myself included, but at the root of it, I think there is something very serious.
There is a very serious... I mean, I'm amazed he went back in on Christmas, he went out naked. I mean, it's freezing up there in Scotland as well. I mean, I might send him to an open prison in Siberia. And see, I mean, it's -50 in Yakutsk today, so that would be quite serious for him. But no, I mean, joking aside, maybe try and get him to cooperate. So, because at the moment, he feels like he's been, you know, it's a vindictive campaign against him. Yeah. And he's a martyr. So try and sort of be inclusive about it and say, look, not everybody appreciates seeing you naked wandering around our country.
And if at the end of all of that, he still refuses to put his clothes on?
Well, then my distraction technique, maybe you could play something like unstrip poker with the jail guards, and so if by mistake he ends up with clothes on, and they go, this is fun.
Genius.
That's genius.
Genius.
I mean, isn't there some sort of naturist commune or community that he
doesn't want to do any of that. He just wants to walk around Britain naked. That's what he wants to do.
Well, that's not acceptable.
Let's flip this on his head. Is it acceptable that we treat someone like this by locking them up all the time? Is that the solution? I mean, one, it's costing us 25, 30 grand a year. That's what it costs to lock someone up in prison. So it's costing us money, right? And no one's winning. And he's hurt no one. Is that acceptable to keep locking him up? I'm not sure it is.
Well, I'm not sure it is either, but then do we put him under house arrest, again, at the cost of the taxpayer? Or do you put him in another institution? Or do you just ignore it and say,
well, that's, you know, now...
I think are his genitals that offensive? I genuinely think, is it really
that offensive? I actually saw him once.
Because I was about to ask it.
Years and years and years ago, when I first moved to London, I was sitting in a cafe, and, well, I presume it was him, a naked man with shoes and boots on...
Must have been him.
Strutted past me, and I thought, little Guernsey girl over here, I just went... Oh, my God, is that what London's like?
So the only one here that's actually witnessed him, were you offended?
No, I wasn't offended. I thought he was really odd and really weird, and I didn't really want to go anywhere near him, but he certainly wasn't offensive. He wasn't getting in anyone's way. He was just walking around. It was slightly disturbing, and I wouldn't like my children to see him.
There are plenty of disturbing things in London.
Yeah, that's true.
There is no doubt. Listen, time is short. Let's get at least one call in if we can, please, Kirsty.
On line one, we have Helen.
Helen, good morning.
Good morning, Matthew.
What would you do with him?
Well, I'm
I'm not against him because I don't think you have to look down at his private parts. You can look at him in the face.
Right.
But I think he should keep pants or trousers on because if he does go to jail, he'll want to keep them on then a long time.
Absolutely. But, I mean, he's been in jail countless times and he doesn't seem to be bothered by that.
Yeah, but in Scotland, if you're in jail a long time, I think he would want to keep his trousers on.
No, I'm saying he's been in jail in Scotland for loads of times.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's down to him. I mean, I'm not against it. I mean, like I said, you know, everybody's got a human form, and I'm not against it. You know, people don't need to take offence. They don't have to look at him. They can keep look at it in his eyes if they walk past him. They don't have to look at his whole body.
Are you saying ignore him?
Yeah, I am.
But if they ignore him, won't more people do it? More
There's
naturists?
There's a lot worse crimes out there than a man walking around naked.
I mean,
but also, if you can avoid, you know, looking down below, without children, they kind of, you know, can't look into his eyes, can they?
I'm fascinated with things like that anyway. And I just, you know, and at the end of the day, children, I don't think it's going to offend a child.
Yeah.
Free to ramble, free to dangle is what I say. But also, why is it just the
and...
boys? Well, I mean, you know, the people who want to
No,
get
he had a girlfriend.
tabloids.
He had a real hot girlfriend, Melanie Roberts, but she walked off.
You've got that in there, have you?
Matthew, to show some kind of solitude and solidarity, we should join him in his protest.
What, now, in this weather?
On the show,
No, it's not that kind of a show.
No, but it's weird, isn't it? Because Jodie Marsh, for instance, can turn up to a party in London wearing absolutely nothing. She doesn't get arrested, does she? So it seems to be they've taken a particular umbrage with this man who likes being naked. So what?
Yeah.
We've all got things,
Let's just
I think.
ignore him. I just think I don't want to be part of a society where we keep locking somebody like that up. It just doesn't seem right. Anyway.